Hey everybody, it's Tachi again. This video, I guess it would kind of be like good news, I guess. But I kind of stepped on my own policy here lately, where I don't talk to cops, and I've kind of been introduced to a few of them that I've been talking to. That I don't know, they make me sound like they're starting to understand that they are being targeted by the elitists now, as well as the rest of us. The elitists have figured out that they no longer need the local cops. I don't even think they want the local sheriffs involved, but the sheriffs is a whole nother ballgame. That's a elected official. But as far as your local cops go, they no longer need them. And they know that the majority of these people, because they're locals, are not going to point their guns at Americans. You know, if it comes down to it, force mandated vaccines and biochips and testing and all this shit. I think they know that these cops are not going to, they're not going to take on this work. And I hope these cops are starting to figure this out. They are being targeted. They allowed so many of these bad cops to pretty much take over the country, and there's so many videos anymore, so many cases of police brutality or police overstepping their bounds, their authority, and then falling back on qualified immunity in the unions to get them out of it. So but they pushed these cops to be that way. I mean, they hired them. Most of these cops, they joined the service, military, Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force. I know people that I grew up with that I've known all my life. One of them, he was in the Navy for 17 years. He came out of the Navy and went into signed up to be an FBI agent. He does that today. Another guy I went to school with, he's ex-CIA. Knew another CIA guy out in Arizona, and the reason why I knew him wasn't because of his job or anything. He had a house that he hired me and my father to paint, and we went over to paint this damn house, and it looked like a country club. It was like 3 stories on the back side of this house and 1 story on the front. That's how stretched out this house was. It was huge. But not only that, he had a freaking landing strip for his plane right outside his house, and he could drive his plane right into his garage. That's how big his garage was, that he could drive his plane right in there and park it. And he also had cars, high dollar cars, and motorcycles, and everything else you could think of. But he was a very wealthy man, and he told me and my dad he used to work for the CIA. He could have still been working for him as far as we know. But I've got a stepbrother that was mayor in a town down in Tennessee, and there was a lot of things I talked to him about that he says, you're right about that is the way they do things. So, maybe these cops are getting to the point that they're figuring out that they're being targeted. And the stupid thing about it is during all these riots and everything, there's videos of cops starting fires, car fires. One video showed them starting the autos on fire. One video shows them walking through a parking lot where these protesters supposedly parked their cars, and they sliced every tire on every car in the parking lot. The cops did that. So, the cops are doing things that are causing the people to be pissed off. And you know, it's hard to say that they're not all bad. It's hard to say that because if they lie on a police report, if they lie in court, and I guarantee you, if they're pulling traffic duty, they lie in court. I proved it. I proved it with a video. But I had this cop standing there telling the judge that because I had a dark green sweat jacket on, he even claimed my strap on my car was dark or light and stood out against my dark jacket, and that's how he knew I didn't have my seatbelt on. And I can take you over to the car right now, and it's a black strap. And he stood there and made that lie up, and I'm sure he's told that lie many times in court. But he also stood there and told that judge and that prosecutor that there was no way I had a video of him saying I had my seatbelt on when he pulled me over. And when I whipped it out on them, none of them could believe it. All three of them jaws dropped. But that's what I'm saying about if they're doing even something small like that, I'm sorry, but that makes them a bad cop. And I always say, if you're running with whores, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be a whore. If you're running with whores, one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be a whore. So if you're dealing with a police department that is doing things that goes beyond their authority, like coming onto somebody's property when they don't even have a reason to be there, they're trespassing, and they're telling me they don't have to leave. Well, that puts them above the law. So, once you guys now, if you guys are starting to realize you're being targeted by the same people we're being targeted by, that's taking down the economy and everything else, then who you gonna side with now? You better get on the right side of this, because it doesn't matter if you're following orders, folks. It doesn't matter if you're following orders. If somebody tells you to violate somebody's rights in any way, shape, or form, and you do it under the color of the law, you are violating Title 18, U.S. Code 241 and 242. 241 is conspiracy to violate somebody's rights under the color of law, and 242 is the actual act of doing it. And that is a bad cop that will do that. Sorry, it is. Doesn't matter who, why, how, whatever. So, and then on top of it, if you guys don't even know what these laws are, then how can you be out here doing it? I'll tell you how, because you're covered under qualified immunity. You're covered under qualified immunity. And if you think that's right as a police officer, that you should be able to do whatever you want and no accountability for it, and whether you understand that you're violating somebody's rights or don't, even if you do understand it or don't, it doesn't matter. Because if you don't understand you're violating somebody's rights, then you shouldn't be a cop at all. I spent 7 months inside the ASU law library down there. I probably got no more about the law than 10 of these cops combined out here. But I want to get back to this because, like I said, this is actually a good thing. I've talked to a couple other cops just this morning. They were Campbell cops out of Campbell, Ohio. And I was asking them, you know what, by God, if it comes down to it, they come up with this vaccine and they tell you you're going to have to take it, what you guys going to do? There was two cops there. They said, we ain't going to take it. I said, well, if they don't give you no choice? He goes, I'll quit my job before that. I'm going to let them stick me with anything. So that makes me feel good that these cops are even willing to walk away. Now, that's not all of them. Like I said, there was just 2 of them that told me that. But I've also had another conversation with another officer, and they even brought up Fast and Furious. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's not the movie. I'm not talking about the movie. And I know quite a bit about that because I was down in Arizona when that shit happened. I know what was going on over that border. Matter of fact, man, I tried to tell the 3%ers because I I was into, not in any one of them, but I helped get people involved in standing up for your rights and stuff, which these 3%ers had me fooled. I really didn't know they weren't a regulated militia. I figured it out after a while, but I used to, figure I was a 3%er at one time. But I tried to tell these boys down there when they were going down to protect that southern border back when Obama was president. I told the leader of that 3%ers, if you go down there with your guns, you shoot anybody, you're going to go to prison for murder. You're not a regulated militia. You have no powers that the Constitution allows to a regulated militia. You are not more than a boys' club, gun club. And these guys thought they were regulated. They thought they were militia that the Constitution backs. And if you don't read the Constitution, you don't have a clue at what you're talking about. Because it states right in there, a well-regulated militia, which means you get the same training as the military gets, same kind of ranking system. You don't just become a general because you were the first one that your buddy brought in as a member. No, if you're going to be a general, you got some kind of freaking abilities that got you there. You don't just get that title. And that's how regulated militia, the Minutemen, do this. This way, if they have to step in working with the National Guard or our own military to protect us, they can fall right in line and all work together smoothly. You don't have a boys' club coming in here and trying to be taught how to be soldiers, because that ain't how it works. And I told those guys about it before they went down there, and they still went down there, and some of them are still in jail. I told them the United States government doesn't control that border. The Mexican government doesn't control that border. The damn drug lords control that border down there. Nothing crosses that border unless them drug lords know where it's at and going across. You're allowed to cross through them points that the United States claims because that's where you are allowed to cross. Try going out there and crossing anywhere else and not have permission, and see if they have don't bury your ass out there. See if it don't happen, because if those coyotes, somebody out there in that desert finds your ass and you ain't supposed to be there, you're dead and buried. Guarantee it. Who do you think brings all the cocaine, the heroin, and all that shit into this country? The government and the drug lords down there in Mexico. That's who does it. If you're working with the government, then you're one of the whores. And if you're running with whores, one day you will wake up a whore. So, but I'm hoping these cops, man, are starting to turn their head around, see the truth. That's what I'm hoping. Now, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But I'm not going to let my guard down 100%. I'm going to try to give some of these guys the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? I'd love to have them on my side. I'd love to have them on my side. I'll take every damn one of them, all the cops. If they all want to come to my side and stand for the truth and the fact, I'll take every damn one of them. If they're honest and truthful and want to back the real Constitution, not this fake one, not this corporate Constitution, the real Constitution. It's where we have freedom. We're allowed to own property. There is no crime without a victim. Period. That's what the Constitution was for. If you don't want to live free and don't want to be like that, that's not for me. I don't need another man put a boot on my neck. I don't need another man tell me what's right and wrong. I know what's right and wrong. I don't need another man to tell me if I can drive my Jeep down the road with no plate on it. It's my damn Jeep. I don't need another man to tell me make me eat food that I don't even want to eat. I don't want to eat this damn GMO shit. I don't want to drink water with fluoride in it. I don't want to breathe the air that's fucking that they're pumping all this shit into, but I have no choice. So let's get back to reality. I'll take all you cops. If you guys are fucking right, You want it right? You want the Constitution right? You got God in your lives and stuff, that's fine. I'll take them all. I'll take you all with me, man. Hell, let's go. But if you think that you're going to come in and do that do the kind of stuff you're doing out here on the streets today, if you're wanting to violate people's rights when you have no right to do so, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. If you'll stand in front of a judge and lie on somebody, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. It ain't that important of a job. Period. If you have to do things you don't want to do in order to keep your job, then maybe you need to get out of your job. Now, most people, like I said, they hire these guys after they broke them in military. They break them in basic training, bring them back as a hive mind thinking team member, which the team comes first, and they're not on the same team we were on. They think they are, but there's a reason why so many of them come back and kill themselves. They know the truth. But they break them in there in the military, bring them in, make them order followers, and then bring them into the police department. Make them order followers because they're order followers. Well, you don't have to do that job. You don't have to do that job. And I know many of cops that I'm going to stop, I'm going to quit, I'm going to walk away. But they ain't going to because the money, they ain't going to walk away from the money. And if you worship that money, you worship Satan. So that's not going to get you nowhere. It's not going to get you nowhere. But it's up to you guys. I can only tell you what I know. And I know this. Most of these cops don't even know they're working under maritime amnesty law and not under constitutional law. They don't even know it. But every courtroom they walk into that's got a golden trim fringe flag in it, that tells you right there it's a maritime courtroom. But you don't believe it because I'm just a dumbass hillbilly. I'm just a dumbass hillbilly. Look it up, people. It's that easy. But when you look it up and you find the truth, don't ignore the truth. Don't ignore it and say, well, yeah, that's what it says. It does say that. And when you look it up on Google, it does say that a gold trim flag means you are in a maritime amnesty law court or it's under martial law, one of the two. And all these flags that are flying behind Trump and all these people up here in these high places all have gold trim on them, folks. I've taken pictures, many, many pictures, and showed them to you. You guys don't understand who you're working for. You police officers do not understand who you're working for. You do not even have any duty to defend or protect anybody in public unless they are in your custody. Unless you have arrested them and they're in your custody, you have no duty to protect them. The Supreme Court's already ruled on it. Yet I hear all these guys, I'm here to protect and serve. Your duty is not to protect and serve. You're a law enforcement officer. You enforce their laws. That's what LEO stands for. It don't stand for protect and serve the people of the United States. It does not. It's to protect and serve the corporation that runs the United States. And that's the Constitution you swore an oath to. Even your state constitution is a corporate constitution. All the counties are broken down into corporate limits. You know this, you drive by them all the time. Corporate limit of Youngstown, corporate limit of Boardman, corporate limit of Campbell. There's signs everywhere. It's all corporate law, maritime law, people. You're not under constitutional law. Trump even suspended what little bit of it was even being played. You're under martial law, medical martial law they called it, that's controlled by FEMA and the United Nations. If the Constitution is suspended and you have your authority comes from the Constitution, like the sheriffs like the politicians, like the president. If your powers come from a constitution that is suspended, then you no longer get a check because you're no longer being used. Your job is suspended. Do you guys not understand that? No, what it is it's our rights that have been suspended, but their rights have all still in place. Does it make sense, people? No. You can't make sense out of bullshit. Prove me wrong, people. Prove me wrong. Prove to me, officers, that you're not working under maritime admiralty law, which is law of the sea, not law of the land. That's law of the sea. Or you're working under medical martial law or martial law. Prove me wrong. Any one of you. Lieutenant, police chief, sheriff of Mahoney County. Prove me wrong. You can't. All I have to do is walk into your courtroom, your sheriff's office, your police station. You got a gold trim flag standing, Jolly Roger flag is what they call it, standing right there in your buildings. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that gold trim flag isn't a maritime admiralty flag. People, may God bless us all, because we're going to need it. And I hope you cops, I hope you're beginning to see the truth, because you're being targeted worse than we are right now. Everybody have a good day.